Oh, Colleen, you just announced something that you are now the old person on your block. How did you come to that conclusion?
Well, my neighborhood had their block party last night instead of the previous week when normally, because more people could make it. And so, take my daughter to do the stuff we need to do. We come home, I wander out there, and I look around, and there were 1,000 children. And when I moved into the block, there were like 5 kids.
Really?
And, some of the babies one of the babies was 3 weeks old. Oh, so I'm meeting all these people, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, I'm being talked to like an old person. How long have you been here? Who does your garden? I love that. And I'm realizing these are folks like in their 30s.
Oh, ow.
I mean, they're having kids the same time I had kids, as we're saying, 1 or 2 were younger, but I'm like, they're just moving in. I mean, 5 new families in, like 4 months.
Oh, cool.
And
you have kind of a cool sort of interactive block, don't you?
Somewhat. I mean, they're more interactive than I am with it, so I make it a point to at least go to this one thing.
Yeah.
Because when my daughter was young, we didn't go to the local park or pool. We just went to my parents.
Oh.
And play, because they have a pool, and you hang out there, and then there's, almost everyone works. I think there might be some, stay-at-home parents in the neighborhood. But so basically we do that thing where I know the people on either side of me. And then the first time you go out and clean your clean off your sidewalk, and when it snows, everyone's out there waving at each other. Hi, and we have that. Everyone stands there, holds their shovels, and chats with each other. So you meet your neighbors then.
Yes.
And then if you're out in the summer pulling weeds in your front yard or doing something,
sure.
You have that. But that's.
Isn't it funny, like, even with people that on your block, but everybody's all holed up all winter long, and when everybody emerges in the spring, it's like, you look different. Oh, did you cut your hair? Isn't that funny how that is?
I had one neighbor that emerged with a baby because I didn't see her for like months, and she's, was very thin.
Oh.
And then I didn't know she was pregnant as we went into winter, and then, of course, she had the baby in the winter, and there was like a child.
That's a neat trick.
And I'm like, okay, but because you have big baggy coats and all that.
Yep.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, you have a new one.
Oh, that is so cute. No, speaking of weather, is it ever steamy here at the brand new location of the Alive and Social Network Studios. We're in, what part of town would you call this?
Well, we're right off of Eat Street.
Okay.
Sort of in the Arts District over by MCAD and the Minneapolis Institute of Art. I refuse to call it MIA because that's insanely stupid. Okay. So I'm old, and I will call it Minneapolis Institute of Art at MIA.
Okay. Mm-hmm. MIA.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting setup that we have here. It's wonderful. And there's all sorts of, Eat Street makes sense. There's all sorts of nifty little boutique-y places to eat. You said that you come over this way to eat a lot. What are some of your faves around here?
Well, I'm always eating at Juan Deli. I'm always eating at 97, 79. I'll eat at there's a Malaysian place I can't think of the name of. Of course, we're right around the corner from Glam Doll Donuts. So that's not going to do my freaking hips any good.
Nope.
And, of course, Black Forest is here, so you can, about the Greek place. Santorini? No, Mykonos. I don't. There's a great place.
Really good.
Yeah.
You just drive to them, don't you?
I
you don't even pay attention.
I just go. I eat the food. I eat all the food, and that's all there is to it.
There's a lot of great stuff. But great new location for us. And a couple things. I mean, this is weird. You had the creeping crud last week. A lot of people are sick right now.
Oh, yeah.
I lost my voice absolutely, utterly, and completely on Monday. I didn't know if I was going to be able to talk yesterday.
Yeah, I was squeaking last week. You were squeaking this week. And my mom was doing it the week before, so I'm not sure what the deal is. And I've heard other folks that had it too.
Yeah, it's a weird summer for that sort of thing. So we're a day late on the podcast this week, but that's cool. We've got some really great guests, by the way, coming up in the next couple of weeks. I'm just going to say we have a guy named Perry coming in next week. And Perry is into, what isn't he into? And he can talk about everything, and he's going to be fantastic. So he's going to talk about kink. He's going to talk about naughty music festivals. He's going to talk about all sorts of things. And he's a promoter and an event planner. So we're going to have him in next week. And then we've got someone else queued up.
Megan has located, and we together located a woman who owns a photography studio and does a lot of like pinup and 1940s photography and stuff like that. So she was very excited about, because that's all about positive body image, which, I'm pretty sure there's not an episode of here that we don't delve down that alleyway every time.
Yeah.
So she's out of town this week, and so we're playing the Yield email tag. No, there's no longer phone tag. Nobody talks on the phone anymore.
Oh my God, no. God, no.
No.
Absolutely not. And who leaves voicemail? Like, seriously? I mean, I don't listen to it. Do you?
No. I have told folks, just, I see that you called because there's caller ID.
Yep.
And I will call you back.
Do you remember when we were kids? Boy, we started out with old. Let me dive right back into the old for just 1 second. When we were kids, there used to be the whole prank calling, and you could dial up numbers and say stupid stuff. But even when you watch the detective shows, to like trace a phone call was an epic deal. Now it shows up on your cell phone. And not only do we all have caller ID instantaneously, here's the other weird thing. Does your phone do this? Mine, if I don't have that number locked into my phone, it'll say maybe and then a name. Does yours do that?
No, I don't have that.
Mine digs deeper. Like for my vet, maybe Dr. Margaret Duxbury. I'm like, oh my God, that's weird. I mean, talk about tentacles, right?
I do not have that yet.
Yeah, mine doesn't.
And I'm not sure. Although that would have been handy because on the way over, I got a spam phone call, and I've got a couple. People are trying to get a hold of me, so I'm not sure who it is. And it comes up on the phone, and I hit accept, and it's like someone who wants to sell me a Florida timeshare. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? But I'm generally pleasant. I said, I know you've got a hard job. I know you're calling, but take me off your list.
Yep.
And then click. I don't. That's all there is to it.
And that's pretty nice. I got to give you some credit there. I got tickled. I got a phone call from one of my consulting clients. I'm like his marketing person, and he hired basically a dialer. He's in the mortgage industry, and he hired a dialer. And his dialer called me. I must have been in the database, and he was so cute. And he calls, and I saw my client's name pop up, and I said, "Hey," and he's like, "Hi, I'm blah blah blah," very proper, calling on behalf of Ken, and blah blah blah. And I let him go for a minute, and I said, "Well, you know what, sweetie?" I go, "I'm Ken's marketing person. I'm the one that wrote the script that you're using." And he's like, "How did you get in here?" That was very cute. Anyway, so hey, one thing, there's not an elephant in the room. I would never call Carrie Miller an elephant. I like her. But I didn't get to talk about this with you last week because you were under the weather. And Carrie's got a new show called Great Sex, and I kind of think that's encouraging, even though we've been doing it for over a year and a half. And she's new, but she's all connected, NPR'd out, and whatever from her Care 11 days. And
there isn't anyone that she can't pick up the phone and probably get an interview with.
Talk about my new thing that's outside my NPR gig. But she's got an interesting mission, which is very much like ours. So, Colleen, in your own words, as the head of Fantasy Gifts, and we've been doing this a while now. Talk about why we're here and why we do this every week.
Well, I mean, honestly, when we were first approached, it was just to be, an advertiser on the network, because local is local. But as we're going through there, we realize that there's a point of view still that sex is something that that is dirty and should be hidden and in back rooms. And we realized that this is a way to get out there and tell people that even in 2016 that, it's okay to like sex. It's okay to like your body. It's okay, it's just that
or someone else's.
Yeah, or someone else's. It's okay to go shopping for toys. It's okay to not have sex. I mean, it's okay for all of these things.
Yeah,
and people are still really sort of wigged. I mean, for all the folks that aren't wigged out about the idea of buying a vibrator. I mean, there are folks and there's still so much unknowledge, let's put it that way. Or,
unknowledge. I like that.
Which is so much nicer. Sometimes I say people are so ignorant because that just sounds mean. Because it's sometimes
and you are not mean.
It's not. I can be mean. But it's just fascinating. So the show developed so that we could talk about stuff, and that's why body image comes out a lot. Good sex comes out a lot. People that are into bondage or folks that are furries or, anything that, that to show folks that they're not alone. Everybody, we do have our boundaries, we're not, it's not an anything goes, but it is, that if you're a consenting adult, and that's a good thing. And that folks would, feel comfortable, to come on and talk about it, which is why we've had, the folks in the lifestyle, which other people might call swinging, and folks that are into bondage, all these sort of things, because it's not, I mean, there's a little bit of freak to it because that's what makes it fun, but it's not abnormal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no.
So we built this over the year, and we've had to get over I had to get over myself is the fact that it's okay to promote a point of view, that I'm okay having a point of view, and that a story, and I can be about my stories. I mean, nobody gets, pissed off at Andrew Bourdain when he says, buy my book.
Right.
Well, and that's all about him. He's a person, stuff like that. So we've encompassed sort of a healthy, positive sexual conversation with, here's a place you can go shopping.
Yeah. And we do, but we do get involved on the how-to side of things. We do explore, the issues surrounding certain things and how they fit into society. We talk, a lot of silly news, a lot of very serious news as this stuff appears. And we're going to talk about the Olympics here coming up in just a minute. But, something that I think is, interesting, Colleen, you come by the desire to kind of break down some walls, honestly, because you had trouble even buying advertising here in town, but then also getting buildings, and you've come up against municipal governments. I mean, you've really walked the walk here.
Yeah, and it's still frustrating. I still have issues. I can't sponsor a post on Facebook. I can't advertise on Google.
That is so weird.
And I mean, yet they want, for example, I need to shell out money for a Google sponsored 360 video so that I show up higher in their their search. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and then everything gets blurred out. It's like there's something wrong with the product.
Yeah.
It drives me insane. I had to take my website, fantasygifts.com, off of my Google local pages because it kept getting flagged. And they would turn the sites off. So I had to remove my own website from my Google local pages. And then the pages are okay.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, because,
Yeah.
So it took me over 2.5 years to figure that out. Because nobody tells you that.
Wow.
You just keep getting flagged and getting flagged and getting flagged.
Yeah.
And I finally actually did get a hold of a human. And they're like, it's your website.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Someone was kind enough to, say that. The amount of times I hear, well, I don't have a problem with it, but
yeah,
there's a big radio corporation in town that I almost never work with because I never know who's going to be saying yay or nay to the, yes, you can do the commercials. No, you can't. And I'm like, I can't plan an advertising budget around the whims of someone, whether they have a stick up their ass or not.
Yeah. I mean, it's brutal.
But I do know that if really, to some extent, if nobody cares, Walmart would have a dildo aisle. And I may not have a business. I mean, I have enough issues with the fact that people are, willing to buy stuff I don't know where it's coming from like random people on Amazon. That grosses me out to no end. I mean, we're talking about an item that you may actually insert into your body.
Yep.
I think you would like to know where it came from.
Yeah.
And so, so this was a way to sort of get out there. I can get out some of my frustrations about stuff like that. And yes, we can talk about naked folks in Florida because when you're talking about serious stuff, occasionally we have to talk about the naked person in Florida.
We have to.
Because otherwise your brain would just explode.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I found something that is going to delight and amaze you. Today. It's not about Florida. It's about something else but you're absolutely going to get tickled. But I just want to say too, one of the things that I really like about the show and having the different, I call them cast members, but they're really Fantasy Gifts team members. We have Michael, who is your GM. We've got Megan, and she's oversees several stores, and everybody that works there has been there for really a very long time. I mean, the majority of the core group has been there for a super long time, and they've come up through the ranks. And what I mean by that is they have really mixed it up in the stores with people that want something to make them feel good or, discuss their really serious, very personal problems and why they need some sort of sexual help. And I love those stories because they're so real.
Yeah, that's it. Because both, what's really nice is that Michael and Megan, they do the same things when it comes to the stores. They're in charge of them doing all that, but each of them have their skill set. Megan helps us with the social media here, and Michael helps with some of the other stuff in the stores and stuff like that. So everyone picks and chooses what you're going through, and we've had a lot of fun with that. And it's really nice too because when we first started in the show, we'd never met.
Yeah, I know. That was funny.
The original owner just stuffed us in a room. We said, okay, here's some microphones. Let's talk. We're like, oh, this shit works.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's been fun. We're finally learning that, it's very rare that you can actually find something that we haven't heard of, which is fun because I like the fact that you consider it a challenge.
Every week. You have no idea the extent to which I go to try to pull one over on you guys. Trust me, people, not an easy feat. I'm telling you right now. Well, I just want to say this happened on Sunday, and then we'll dive into the Great Northern Sexcast news, and the Olympics are definitely headlining this week. But some of the things we talk about with regard to all the stories and all the fetishes and all the different things that we dive into is at the end of the day, it's about communication. And I have a perimenopausal meltdown story from Sunday. I had just a whole bunch of stuff going on, and I was not feeling good, and I had to go on this a kayak trip with a client, and I didn't want to, and it was going to be an hour each way to just drive to get there, and like 5-6 hours in the beating sun, and I was just grumpy. And I left, and I was like, bah! Well, this will crack you up. My neighbor is a little passive aggressive, and he puts this reflector on the corner of our property. I mean, we are practically right on it. Our property lines are insane. He puts this reflector there. I have never run over anything on his, or nor have I, crunched a flower, nothing. But this stupid reflector. And I'm pulling out because I was in that, scary mood. And I saw the reflector, and I, on purpose, clipped it was one of those floppy ones. I wanted that sucker to break in half so bad. So Carl sees this, and he's like, woo, I'm glad she's going to be gone for a couple hours. So what did he do? He did the most boyfriendly, sexiest thing he could have possibly done that day. He went and he put a blind over a window that the covering finally died. And I've been crabbing about that, wanting this blind up. He went and got it, and he had to drive. He went 30 miles one way and realized he forgot his wallet. So he had to do it again, and he still got it. And he brought me flowers. So that was the sexiest thing. So we talk about that side of things too.
No, there are flowers on my desk right now for my guy. See,
really?
I can't have them at the house anymore because my shenanigans kitties just destroy them.
Oh my God.
So I show up on Monday, and there are flowers on my desk.
That's sweet. Do they eat them or just absolutely tear them apart?
Both.
Okay. Yeah. Cats, flowers, not good. Yeah. We're cat people around here too.
Yeah, puppy people and cat people.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The neighbors had not only was there a new baby, there was a couple of new puppies. It
was.
And you know what? I could coo over the baby, and I could pat the puppy, and then they could go away.
And yeah, no potty training, no diapers, no nothing. No, nothing.
I have enough shenanigans kitties.
Absolutely. Well, Colleen, I've got some stuff on the Rio Olympics. Wow. Have you been watching?
Actually, I don't really give a shit about the Olympics.
You know what? I don't either. It's so funny. I can't believe it. And Carl is just appalled. But
I understand. I wish all of them well. This is what they do. They have insanely wonderful bodies, from the weightlifters down to the gymnasts to the, although I cannot believe water polo. I mean, that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces, but to sit down and watch it, I mean, possibly if I could watch something from beginning to end and not have any commentary, maybe.
Yeah.
But I can't, the yap of the, no.
Carl is all geeked out on women's rugby. Mm-hmm. He's like, that is the coolest damn thing I've ever seen. He couldn't, it was like a train. He couldn't stop watching over the weekend. It was hilarious. But you have some sexism stuff.
Well, I may not watch the Olympics, but I have many friends that do.
Oh, yeah.
And many people that do. And so my feed on my social media has been filled with lovely, lovely things that have been said. And by the way, there are more female Olympians for the U.S. team this year than there are male Olympians.
Really?
Okay. There are more. That is right. But there have been commentators. Let's see. Where did I find the list? That the list of the most sexist moments at the Olympics so far. Let's see. Number one. The time that NBC said that women, not advertising dollars, were the reason they were showing so many commercials. Now, the opening ceremonies, I'm not watching, but I'm on social media, so I see that folks are watching, and they're like, oh my God, this is like 6 minutes commercials and like 3 minutes of the ceremony. And so they decided that what they're going to do is they're going to blame women.
Really?
Yes. The people who watch the Olympics are not particularly sports fans. More women watch the games than men, and for the women, they're less interested in the result and more interested in the journey. It's the sort of ultimate reality show and miniseries wrapped into one. And to tell the truth, it's been the complaint of a few sports writers. It's not been the complaint of the vast viewing public. Women enjoy commercials more than men? No, because I will tell you right now about all the comments I saw on Friday night were from my women friends that were pissed about the commercials.
Full circle much? Yeah.
Too. The Chicago Tribune. This is my favorite one. This is the first one that caught my eye. Referred to an Olympic bronze medalist as the wife of a Chicago Bears player. They didn't give her name. They didn't even say what sport it was
Just
in.
wife.
The wife of a Chicago. Now,
and she was a competitor.
She's a competitor.
Oh, God.
She
okay.
won a bronze medal, and that's how they referred to her. She's a trap shooter. I didn't know that was an Olympic sport anyway.
Didn't you?
Yeah, no, I had no idea.
Awesome. Yeah.
I know that there's that skiing and shooting shit.
That's
the
amazing.
Ones, which I'm like, oh my God. But it's
skiing and
Corey
shooting shit.
Cogdell Unrain won her second bronze medal in the Rio Olympics. And this was their tweet. It was wife of Bears lineman wins bronze medal today in Rio Olympics.
Bad.
Okay,
very, very bad.
So that was lovely. Okay, number 3 here. This is my. As soon as there was a swimmer who won a gold medal, and instead of crediting her for her victory, the commentator chose to said they put the camera on her coach and said, "There's the man responsible for her victory."
Oh.
I'm pretty sure they did not put the camera on Michael Phelps' coach and said that he was responsible for Michael Phelps' 20th and 21st gold medals. Oh, by the way, that evil look face, I'm sure you saw that big quick. That was the best face ever.
Well, it's funny. We were just talking about him at breakfast today about how shamed he was for smoking pot outside of competition, and everything else. And I'm like, Lance Armstrong systematically cheated for decades. I think that's far more insidious. Michael Phelps was just having some wreck time. I mean, I love it that he's having this comeback.
Yeah. And now, and another thing, now there's like, well, it's great. He's there with his baby. And then they give another woman shit for saying she loves playing, doing whatever sport she was, and playing volleyball and having babies. So this is women that are being pissed that people were talking about that she was okay, that she liked having babies. It can go the other way too.
Yeah.
There's some sexism that way. Everyone's thrilled that Phelps is there with his little baby and they've got little earphones on it. How exciting! But the fact that a woman might mention that she likes being a mother. People go apeshit over that too. So the sexism happens on both sides, and it can come from a lot of different angles.
Oh yeah.
There was people have been tweeting a female cyclist fell down, and she commented. She tweeted something from her. Let's see. Where we go. She fell down, and then she tweeted from the hospital that she's doing okay. And just a regular male commentator, just a regular spectator said, "Well, it's better if you keep your bike steady, because just your average guy knows more about Olympic cycling, So you're a little mansplaining there. I mean, maybe there needs to be a sarcasm font. Maybe he thought he was being funny, but it does come across as mansplaining.
Yeah, mansplaining.
And then here's the best part. This is the one that gets me: the record-breaking female swimmer as the female Michael Phelps.
And her name is?
Katie Ledecky.
Okay. Yeah.
Although there was an adorable picture today that I saw of when Katie Ledecky was 9 and got Michael Phelps autographed after his first or second Olympics.
Yeah, it's...
I was going through there. So, that she swam like a man. What does that mean? Saying that someone, generally if you say someone a woman acts like a man, they're saying you're being bossy or this or that. Or if they say that, or they give some guy shit about, being
a girl, playing like a girl.
Playing like a girl. And I'm like, oh my God. And so it's just been, time after time. And we're only about halfway through.
Oh, yeah.
The Olympics. Now, they're all getting, the best part about this is that they're all getting called on it.
Oh,
people are giving NBC shit. They're giving CBS. I mean, wherever this goes. I mean, the Chicago Tribune. I mean, they're going through that. Not everyone's apologizing, but they're making excuses for it. So I'm pretty sure they're watching how they're saying things.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, or just. Just explaining how you're looking at bodies, and I've seen some stuff. I mean, we posted we have a equal opportunity let's gaze at bodies things, and so on Monday we posed some pictures of male Olympians, and today was female Olympians, and the bodies are amazing.
Yeah,
if you want to celebrate the body, that's fine. But if you don't tell me that someone looks like a man or this person is too tiny or
you lead into. Have you heard about Alexa Moreno, the Mexican gymnast? Speaking of bodies, it's a perfect segue. She is a 22-year-old gymnast from Mexico who has so far competed, I believe, in the floor and the parallel bars and something else. And she's not what you would, the typical emaciated-looking gymnast, okay? She's just not. And that's really all I'm going to say, because I can't really adequately describe her. She's her, and she's where she is, and she's good enough to have gotten there. And yet she goes on, and the world, Twitter lights up, comparing her to the bodies. And what's really weird, I don't know if you do, but I know a former gymnast that went real far, and she coached college, and she's my age now. And though she didn't suffer the serious dysmorphia and eventual eating disorders, she still says she's a little screwed up in the head with how, they were told that they had to be and how hard it was. It's like, if this chick can compete her way and get there, what the hell difference does it make what she looks like?
Yeah, because if you look at all of the women's Olympic team this year is probably the most diverse that I've ever seen. I mean, the gymnasts themselves. I mean, these are women of all shapes and sizes, and they're stronger than hell. They're gonna, there is nothing stronger than a gymnast.
They're terrifying. Yeah.
And however you get there is spectacular. Yeah, I mean, yes, if they're going to compete, and any athlete is going to compete, they might lose enough fat to not have a period and all these sort of things, but it's not a permanent thing. Yeah. When they're done competing or doing something that, can go back there, and they're not unawares of it right now and what's going through there. But if they're talking about, were they mentioning just the fact that she was just did call her manly looking or something? I mean, because she had, No, she's more voluptuous than a gymnast. She's actually got a butt. Okay. So
she has a butt, and
so she's able to compete at this level without having
to be absolutely emaciated. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's only muscle. And so you just don't see any curves at all. The breasts disappear, stuff like that on a lot of swimmers. And if she managed to do that, there's a Uzbekistan gymnast in the vault. She's in her 40s now. She's still competing.
Wow.
And she's been doing, quite well. And they're talk about longevity. So, if you can manage to do it, go for it. But they're for her, at that point, I don't mind someone talking about their age. Because if you're 42 and you're still competing as a gymnast in the Olympics,
own it.
Yeah, go with it.
Absolutely. Well, and on the lighter side of things, which we always tend to dip into a bit here on the Great Northern Sex Cast, and I've got this, and Miss Megan will post this on the Great Northern Sex Cast Facebook page, Colleen, but this is hysterical. It's basically it's a poster in the restrooms, and the athletes have taken the bathroom do's and don'ts, so it's the funny figures with the circles with the line through it of shit you're not supposed to do, no pun intended, in the bathrooms.
This I've not seen.
Oh God. Well, and the one of the U.S. basketball female players, Elena Del Dunn, posted a photograph of this, and we'll have it up on our page. And her caption was, "Well, I guess I won't be toilet fishing today." There's actually a stick figure with a fishing pole into the toilet.
I've seen this before.
Yeah,
stuff like that. So there must be something that happens somewhere.
It's an international thing because in the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi, a Canadian snowboarder, a guy, posted a similar thing. But there's things like peeing like a dog, vomiting, and defecating with your feet on the seat. The pictures are hysterical.
So no squatting and going.
With Japanese, because Japanese toilets are on the floor and you squat. I think they're saying no, you can't do it that way.
I know, especially. Oh, did you hear where the men's and women's basketball teams players are staying at the Olympics?
No,
they have a cruise ship.
Oh,
yeah, they're not staying in those dorms.
I don't blame them.
No, professional basketball players, they're like, no. There's two. I don't know who did it, but there were 2 cruise ships there. I know that at least the 2 basketball teams are on there, and probably some officials and other stuff like that.
That's funny.
I'm like, that is not a bad idea. Why are they building these dorms? Well, they just bring in a crap ton of cruise ships.
That's awesome.
It's summer. Yeah. No one's doing cruises. Only if you let. You're not doing that much cruising in the summer.
Yeah.
It'd be perfect.
Well, and I'm sorry, but some of the the sanitary situations that they have going on down there were a little shocking to me.
Yeah.
And I would want to be on something like a cruise ship, even though it could be riddled with norovirus, but I digress. There's some exposure problems down there.
I don't care where I mean, personally, I think they should put the Summer Olympics permanently in Greece. And then maybe you can have, a co-host country every year or something like that. And then they choose, like, I don't know, Switzerland's neutral and they have mountains. Put the freaking Winter Olympics there.
And just forget it.
You don't, the cities come out on the bad end of this. I don't know, every single time. I mean, you can go to almost every city that has an Olympics and see just abandoned after abandoned Olympic site or venue. I'm like, no.
That's a huge waste. And you know what? It doesn't always get the desired result for the city because Brazil has gotten some pretty bad PR out of how bad some of the scenarios are there.
I mean, to their credit, they were awarded it when the economy is doing a lot better. And they have a ton of natural resources. And, the economy tanked the past 10 years. Everybody knows that. And so they went into, a recession or depression, but worse than most of the rest of the world. And not like they had, that they had a perfect society before that. So you put all that together and then of course they do what every Olympics does or what every large project does. You displace the people that have almost no voice.
Yeah.
And that happened in this country when they put in the interstate system. So it's not like anyone's learned anything over this modern Olympics. They keep, and like Boston said no. They said, no, we don't want the Olympics. They're not putting a bid in. I mean, there was enough of an outcry. A couple of people said, let's try and have it here in a couple of years. And there was a whole bunch of people who went, no. And believe me, Minneapolis, St. Paul, I mean, I like our two mayors and they do a lot of wonderful things right now. But if one of them was mentioned in the Olympics in this area, I'd go, no.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. I mean, I remember back in 84 when they came to LA. And even though I was down in Orange County, so, and the counties in California are a lot smaller than they are here in Minnesota, or a lot larger, rather. And even though we were miles and miles away, it was unbearable even where I was. I mean, it was just, not fun. Okay, so Colleen, this actually just came up in conversation a couple of weeks ago, and you ended up texting me a picture of this. You were talking about the giant penis at the trade show.
Yes.
It actually made the news this week. I saw it on, I look at all these different things and this is hysterically funny. And I can't remember what site, but it's Pipe Dreams, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, there's an actual news story of this and some of the questions that you had, stick with me here for 1 second. Okay. So 12 foot, 4 inches tall. That's how big it is. It's the largest dildo ever made. And he came up with the idea, getting ready for the Adult Novelty Manufacturers Expo. Isn't that where you just sent Tara?
Yes.
Okay. So that's where we got the pictures. And so he said it was the hit of the show. So he's trying to figure out what he's going to do next time. They've nicknamed it King Cock.
Well, you see, that's their new line. They came up with a whole new line of dildos. So
okay. Yep. And so they said it took about 3 weeks to design, mold, and sculpt it. They had to use aluminum air duct panels to make the shell and then put rubber over it. And he said it's like, and it was made in America. And he says it's highly unlikely it can be used for, like anything but promotional purposes. But yeah, they actually, because this thing is so remarkable, it actually made it into weird news mainstream. I thought you would get a huge, because you heard it here first.
Yeah. I was like, how do they do that? What's it? I'm like the picture because they're just telling me about it. I'm like, and then the best part about that is that since she did not send the picture to me, I had to actually text Tara and ask her to send me a dick pic.
Whose boss does that?
No, yeah.
Where?
It was like half an hour later where I realized what I had done. I just asked for a dick pic.
Oh, that's funny.
I just don't know how that ended up with that. That doesn't happen in a lot of places. It just doesn't. And we're in the world in general. I can't imagine. There really aren't that many people, I think, that have actually requested dick pics.
No, they usually show up quite surprisingly.
No.
So the flying bum, this is funny. And once again, you'll find pictures at the Great Northern Sexcast page. This is... I'm sorry, but the pictures were so funny. This is the world's longest aircraft, okay? And this was unveiled, if you will, in England over the weekend. But the Airlander 10, it's huge, but nobody could get past the fact that it looks like a butt. I mean, it looks like a butt. So now in the British press, it's nicknamed the flying bum. And now this giant, huge, 302-foot long plane is completely shadowed by the fact that it looks like a butt. Now, just for reference, it's 10 feet longer than the largest configuration of a Boeing 747, just to give you some perspective of how big that butt would be. That's some serious baby got back right there. And it's got all sorts of possible, applications. They're thinking it's going to be used for surveillance, cargo, communications, humanitarian missions, passenger travel. It's just whatever. But the ship's official name is really called the Martha Gwynn. And, it's got 1.3 million cubic feet of helium, allowing it to reach 20,000 feet and fly for 5 days at speeds of 90 miles an hour. Think about that. But it looks like a butt. Did you see it? Did you Google it? Okay, I told you. It looks like a butt. Right? Okay, there you go, everybody. That is a fresh reaction to the real deal.
Really, nobody realized, I mean, seriously, you have to get out in front of that. And these...
Yeah.
You should have been like, here's our newest asset from or something, anything. Yeah. Oh my God. It's the Airlander. Yeah. I like the fact that enormous size.
It is huge. Yeah. This will be on the page. It's worth it. It's pretty good.
There's one picture. Oh my God. It looks like a sex toy.
I know.
I mean, there's like an anus. There's
I know.
Woman and there's a crack in the.
Well, maybe the big giant penis.
Yeah, maybe
this would that too. I don't know. Pretty damn funny.
This is hilarious.
Pretty funny. Okay, so in other pop culture news, Pokemon Go, seriously weird stuff about that. So now we've got people. Do you play, by the way? Have I ever even? I don't either. I don't either.
No, I mean, and it looks like folks are having fun, and I'm pretty sure they'd be sitting in front of their damn TVs or their Xbox if they weren't outside doing this. But I do find it fascinating to see 200 people over at Centennial Lakes Park staring at their phone singly in tiny little groups.
I know.
They're like, oh, that's what they're doing. But
they've tried to find a workaround. Against probably the game's best benefit, which is movement. Mm-hmm. So what they're trying to do is they're saying in Japan, they're trying to put attach vibrators to their phones in order to make the user think it's walking when they're really just sitting around. Did you see that?
I did see this that they're doing. They're immediately figuring out ways to cheat. So it seems like they're going places. But considering the fact that there's like GPS on these things, I don't quite understand how that works because I don't have the games, but I'm like, someone was putting it, I was like, people are like going into cemeteries and it's all over the place. And I mean, it's fascinating. And I'll be curious to see how it evolves into other things. I mean, someone was saying that one of their far out ideas is to have like contact lenses that you wear so you can see the Pokemon anywhere. It's not on your phone anymore. It's just,
that would.
And I'm like, I don't want to be walking along and see a Squirtle. I think that's the name of something. I think one of them's Squirtle, which just really sounds like something I should sell.
Right. I'm surprised you don't have them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. In other vibrator news, this one's funny. This one comes to us by way of the United Kingdom, as did the Airlander 10. The video, we've got to post this. It's hilarious. Dog park, basically. Afternoon walk, and the dogs are all running around, woo, 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 woo. And this chocolate lab named Galaxy was retrieving something, but he didn't bring what was thrown back. He came back with a giant black dildo. It was in the bushes. I mean, it's huge. It's huge. And the dog is like walking along and it's flopping, like in his jaws. And he's like, oh, look. And everybody's like, oh God, so that's a really, really cute one. Yeah. So,
well, Australia has a story that sort of like that involves a cock.
Really?
But it's actually, and I'll have to find the video. It's actually a rooster that got into a house and activated a Roomba.
Oh God!
And then sat on it, and the owner of the house. I mean, they have chickens. It wasn't like just random rooster. But she comes in and the rooster's on the Roomba and it's going around, and I'm just like, I can't believe no one's
That's fantastic.
And she of course whipped out her phone and took video of it. It is hilarious, but it's a rooster on a cock on a Roomba.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's going through there.
I want a Roomba. Do you have one?
Nah.
I want one really bad.
I have too much shit. There's no way it just would get under. No, it's a small house with too much stuff, and no, it would be useless.
Okay. I really when I reclaim my loft from renting it out to tenants, it's like a bowling alley, and it's perfect for a Roomba. And I get dust bunnies there the size of freaking Sasquatches, so it'll be perfect. I got to try it. Hey, I want to talk about a sex partner survey that I found pretty interesting. There's this online doctor, and they quizzed 2,000 people in the United States and Europe to find out how they felt about a potential partner's previous sex experience. Okay, so they were trying to figure out what's the number that a person has that makes them the most desirable sex partner, and what's too many. Okay, was kind of what they were getting at. Okay, so the conclusion here was people with more notches on the bedpost were considered promiscuous, but having too few was boring. Okay, so there's a soft spot that they came up with here. And women, I guess, are more flexible in their viewpoints regarding the thresholds for rating this person as either too conservative or too promiscuous. So here's the numbers. The female respondent said they perceive the threshold for being too promiscuous as, once again, 15.2 partners. So it's 0.2, like just like a blowjob. I don't know.
Why do they bother with that? Just say 15.
I know. Men consider the 14. So guys want the women to have fewer partners than women are willing to let guys have before.
But it's only one. I mean, think about
1.2.
1.2.
1.2.
I mean, if it was like,
survey.
Yeah.
On the
How old were these people? Did it say?
No.
Okay.
They were adults. On the other end of the spectrum, though, men believe that 2.3 partners is too conservative. So they want their women to have been with at least 2.3 or more partners. And women think 1.9 is the threshold for too few.
Yeah, you want someone who has some clues to what the hell they're doing. But so the 1.9s and the 2.3 should get together. Help each other out.
Or would they not make any progress?
Not know what they're doing.
I think you got to put the 1.9s with the 15.2s and see what happens.
Well, currently, these have to be, I'm assuming these are probably folks that are older, 30s, 40s, stuff like that. Because when you're talking about millennials, they're actually having less sex. And I'll have to dig up where I was reading about this, is that, they may in fact be in front of their phones too much.
Oh my God, that's right. We've talked about this.
There isn't as nearly as much sex going on in the folks as considered the millennial generation as, let's say, our generation was at the same age.
Wow. Now
they've got a lot of stressors. A lot of them are living back at home with their parents.
That makes
it difficult. You've got much more awareness of sexual transmitted diseases. So that things were going down. So there were a lot of caveats to all that's going through there, going through knowledge, but there's less sex going on. And I'm like, huh.
That's weird.
And, my daughter's younger than a, millennial. So, I'm just, you don't actually, bring up anything with teenagers, unless they're in the car and you can not have eye-to-eye contact. But
is that the part?
The best part to have a conversation with your kid is in a car, because then there's no eye to eye contact,
and it's easier to speak.
Talk about stuff.
What's really funny? Our buddies up on the other lake where we live, the lesbians, and they're a married couple. It's really weird. They just had a huge family weekend. They had 14 people for like 4 days, and it was amazing, which they have 2 houses. So they had, it was whatever, but they like had serious skiing and all this stuff going on. And what was so funny when I went over to have a drink with the ladies to hear how it was and how it went, and because they were so hard to put this thing together, she's like, well, the most interesting thing was taking my sister and her son and her daughter back to the airport and having a conversation with the 16-year-old son about sex. And I'm like, really? And I guess she had just shipped him a box of condoms after this conversation. And I guess they went there on STDs or whatever. And she said, I'm driving along. And again, I said, how did you get him to talk this openly? Because of the stuff that he was trapped. He couldn't go anywhere. But she said, even though I'm gay, I know about straight sex too. So I'm going to tell you blah, 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 blah. But I guess she lectured him all the way from, where we live, which is about 60 miles from the airport to the airport.
Yeah, because you're trapped, and it's your aunt, which is better than your than your.
But
than
Mom
your parents.
was in the car. I was still surprised he talked.
I was going through there. Well, it's still but like I said, there was no eye contact, and I've just heard this over and over again that the car is an amazing place to have a conversation about things. Because I will still, when there's a group of teenagers in my house, I will yell down the stairs, "No nudity." No, because and I also said, and if you're taking a picture, you never take a picture with a red Solo cup.
Yep.
No beverages. I mean, there's just a shit that I have that I'm pretty sure that my parents may have thought, but they never verbalized. I verbalized this shit.
Good for you.
I tell them the internet's forever, and I've been telling them the internet's forever since they were like in 4th grade.
So they know the drill now.
They know the drill. And I trapped the like I said, on the 4th of July, I trapped the teenagers. There was a big group, and the guys were going off to do one thing, and I stopped them all in the driveway. And I'm like, and you will be shooting no bottle rockets at each other. You will be inserting nothing in any orifice.
Yours or anyone else's?
Yes, I gave I said, you will not set anything on fire. You will come back here because, tomorrow, and when the next time I see you, there better not be any burns or fingers blown off. And there's I have them trapped. They are on, because I make them put their bikes in the garage because you just can't have people wandering by and just taking a bike. So the bike goes in the garage. So I'm standing in the driveway. They've come out of the garage with their bikes. They can't get past me. They're not my kids. I don't care. I explained to them that the shenanigans are fine, but injury is not.
That's hilarious.
And
and they love you anyway.
And they're just like, okay, yeah, got it, yeah.
That's awesome. That is so. But they love hanging out at your house. Because you're that safe house kind of.
Yeah. I figured I grew up on pizza, so I know I'm still alive, so it worked out okay. So I'm pretty much the junk food freaking place. I mean, there's fruit. It ends up being like junk food and fruit. So I figure, I go through about equal amounts of both.
Perfect.
So I figure it works out okay.
Keep them where you can see them.
Oh yeah,
right. I think there's some genius to that. Because you're here, Colleen. We've got time for like one more story. I really want you to bring this up because I was fascinated. Okay. The female masturbation article that you found. What did you come up with?
Well, this is sort of hard because last week in the Star Tribune, there was a short article on why do women have orgasms.
And we talked about it. Yeah.
So they're going through there. And then I was going through there and I'm like, it was so small and I realized, there's got to be another reason other than the fact that it just evolved and it's fun. And so I did a little searching and I found the health benefits of masturbation, which generally, if you're doing it right, should come, to some good benefits and, there should be an orgasm there. But get this. 1, female masturbation helps prevent cervical infections and relieves urinary tract infections.
No kidding.
Yep. Studies are showing that female masturbation can provide protection against cervical infections because when women masturbate, the orgasm tense or opens the cervix.
Wow.
And I said many women with urinary tract infections or UTIs report the desire to masturbate when they feel one coming on, and for good reason. Masturbating helps relieve pain, lubricates the vagina, and flushes old, unfriendly bacteria from the cervix.
Wow.
Here's a go. Masturbation is associated with improved cardiovascular health and a lower risk of type 2 diabetes.
No shit, because that's always in all the commercials, right? Type 2 diabetes.
Yeah. And a number of studies, women who experience more orgasms and overall greater frequency and satisfaction with sex, with a partner or not, were shown to have a greater resistance to coronary disease and type 2 diabetes.
No shit.
I love that. I'm like, hey.
That's amazing.
Well, hey, we've talked about this one before. Masturbation can help prevent insomnia naturally through hormonal and tension release.
Really?
Can't get to sleep?
Perfect.
Pull out the vibrator, go for it. Many women masturbate to wind down at night or to help them fall asleep, but they might not know there's a hormonal reason that it works. Dopamine rises during the anticipation of sexual climax, and after the orgasm, the calming hormones oxytocin and endorphins are released, allowing you to feel a warm afterglow to help you sleep.
No kidding. Wow.
Okay. Orgasms increase pelvic floor strength.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yep.
And that's good because think about how many commercials you see on TV about women in our age group with incontinence products. Yeah. Let's tighten that sucker up.
Yeah. And let's see. And then those are like 4 medical reasons. And then there's the psychological and emotional benefits. It helps you get through fatigue.
Really?
It can improve your mood, it relieves stress, and it strengthens the relationship with yourself. Because if you're comfortable with your body,
Yep.
and you should be, it just helps be comfortable, in a lot of aspects. But I really like the type 2 diabetes thing because that runs in my family. So,
well, and my
so
God.
I'm like, woohoo!
Once again, big pharma. I mean, how many commercials do you hear out there? Are you at risk for type 2 diabetes? I mean, you hear that 10 times a day, on any major network that you might be watching. Yeah. You cracked me up when you sat down when you were pulling out all your stuff that we were going to talk about today. You were like, apparently orgasms have made the variety section.
Yes.
That is a version. That's based on the same study that Meg and I talked about last week with Bree. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, it talks about in the version that we discussed, and it was the author was hysterical. It said, this is pretty depressing shit because it all really had to do with initially it was all conceived in the orgasms were supposed to help you get pregnant, and it's like, well, can't they just be for fun? So this is a nice follow up.
Yep.
This is a great follow-up. So again, we are really looking forward. We've got some new crew members here at the Great Northern Sex Cast. We're going to have Callie Matsuhashi back. She had her very first debut episode a couple weeks back. Perry will be here. We've got 40s Boudoir. We're going to have Miss Angie, our pole dancing diva, back, and many, many more. I think it's about time to have the lifestyle back. It's been a while. Find out how they're all doing. And any final thoughts today?
No, that's about it. I'm going to go. I may actually start watching the Olympics so that I can I might actually
watch for the sexism.
So I can watch the Twitter. And honestly, the bodies are amazing. I got some time over the weekend. I'll figure it out because I'm just like, maybe I shouldn't be watching this.
Right?
I think I may be wrong.
Okay.
So I'm going to check this out.
Yeah. Into it, out of it. It's all accepted here at the Great Northern Sex Cast. Colleen, glad you're back. Glad I'm back.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.